Ladies and gentlemen, a small correction before we begin tonight's event. Um, the blurb that you saw before said that this was populated by faculty and staff from the Georgia Institute of Technology. It's been a long time since we've had Georgia Tech people here. But lucky for you, ladies and gentlemen, the 10 p.m. Geekapalooza Comedy Tour here at the Skeptics track is going to be hosted by one of the original founders of the Geekapalooza Comedy Tour, formerly in mathematics at the Georgia Institute of Technology. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a PhD in mathematics. He's funny, and he can prove it, but it usually involves integrals in the complex plane, so we don't want to get into that. Please welcome to the stage your MC for tonight's event, the one, the only Dr. Lou Lefton.
Thank you, Pete. I am cosplaying as the Uncanny Valley today. Yes, it's the creepy mask that only costs 50 cents to make. Yes, it's Wire. All right, how's everyone up? Making it through the con? It's Sunday, so if you haven't gotten laid, you really need to change your deodorant at this point. Just saying. Everybody having a good time. That's great to hear. I am very excited to be here. We've got a fantastic show for you guys. The Geekapalooza Comedy Tour is a mix of fantastic local Atlanta comedians. We've got folks from the Science for Georgia Jazz Hands, which is where we have comedy training for scientists, and so you're going to get a full dose of math, science, engineering, technology, comedy, and we have some special guests that we hope to share with you later tonight. Oh yeah, the energy is just zero. This is awesome. I love this. No, as a mathematician, I was hoping for negative numbers, so zero's a win. Yeah, I am a mathematician by training. And I'm also a dad. Big surprise there, right? I'm not having any of that energy at all. I have three kids. I have three daughters. My first daughter was born. Then we had twins, and as a mathematician, and my wife is also a mathematician, we weren't sure, so we decided to stop because we weren't sure if it was an arithmetic or a geometric progression. She said it's either doubling or adding one each time, but either way, I'm not doing that next pregnancy. Yes, it's actually, math is really useful. I find it's very practical in a lot of places. I use complex numbers to balance my checkbook. Thank you. There's one math laugh going on over here. I'm really enjoying that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's true because complex numbers, you remember them from solving the quadratic equation. You've got the real part. That's what the bank thinks you have. And then the imaginary part is what you can spend, and it's completely independent. I knew I could get a higher dimensional joke in front of you guys. What else is going on? With math, a lot of people think what math is finance. That's the big problem. They think, oh, math, you're just going through numbers. It's like accounting. You're just adding and subtracting. It's like, no, that's not at all what math is. But I did start to look into finance for a little while, and it's an amazing business thing that there's only three major credit reporting agencies, right? What are they? Experiencing, TransUnion, and yeah. So you've got these three major credit reporting agencies, and I think they're missing a huge demographic because there's a lot of folks. Let's just be honest. This is 2024. There's a lot of folks in the red states who are not going to want to use those particular credit unions or credit reporting agencies for their credit scores. I mean, they're controlled by the liberal financial democratic axis or whatever. I think instead of TransUnion, we need to open a new one, which is a parallel one. Just rebrand it. Instead of TransUnion, it should be Cis Confederate. Credit unions for the red states. All right. It's a long way to go for that pun, and I really appreciate you guys taking the ride. What else is going on? I was when I was a kid, I always wanted to go into science and math. I was kind of an inventor, a little bit of a maker. I like to take things apart and put them back together. I remember taking my calculator when I was a kid and reprogramming the chips inside of it and putting a little speaker on it. And I made it so that when you press the factorial button on my TI-88 calculator, instead of computing the factorial, it actually said a sound. And so like you put in 17 and you'd hit the factorial button and the calculator said, 17! Thank you for those of you who know how to write a factorial in standard ASCII representation. It's an exclamation point. All right. All right, what else? My job as the MC is to make sure that the other comics have a really pumped up audience or an audience who's just waiting for the comedian. And then when they show up, it's good. So what else? What else can I tell you guys? As I mentioned, I have kids. I'm a mathematician by training. I also lived outside of Atlanta for a while. Before I moved to Georgia Tech, I was in Louisiana. Any New Orleanians here? Yeah? You guys grew up there? She did? All right. Well, my daughters grew up in. Nice. Yeah, my daughters grew up in New Orleans. And of course, New Orleans Mardi Gras, everybody thinks of New Orleans Mardi Gras as like a big spring break party. But if you grew up there, you know, Mardi Gras is like also a family holiday, right? Everybody gets together, they go out, they have picnics, they go to the parades, the little kids get up on the ladders, you know, everyone's grandma's there. Show your tits, and grandma's like, you know, it's for everybody. Everybody gets beads in Mardi Gras. Somebody showing their tits back there. That's wonderful. Dragon Con, yeah. Anybody give blood at Dragon Con? There's a big blood drive going on. Yeah, good, good. That was not, apparently nobody gave blood here. That's okay. Or maybe you all gave blood. That's why you're a little low energy. I got that. It's dehydrating. I went to give blood at Dragon Con last year, and it was you have to fill out a survey. The Red Cross is very careful about who they accept as a blood donor. It's you got to make sure you answer the questions. Are you have you ever been in lockup? Are you ever have you had a tattoo in the last 12 months? Have you had a piercing? Have you been outside of the country? And I'm like, no, I've not been outside of. Have you ever had sex with another man, even once? No, sex with a different sexual partner. It's like by the end you filled out this form. It's like, I'm such a fucking loser. Just kick my blood. Just gonna sit here while you drain the life force from my body. It's like, I'm your blood donor, and then you die. No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's actually a very good thing. I hope you all do it. What else? What else is going on? We've got a really good show, and I don't want to spend too much time up here. I'll be up here later introducing some of the other acts. But I'm very excited to bring up your first comic. You ready for her? She is extremely funny. She is a regular at the Whole World Improv Theater just downtown Atlanta on Spring Street, which you guys check out. They're actually one of the longest running improv theaters in Atlanta. Yes, thank you very much. 30th anniversary coming up, and very funny. So please welcome to the stage the one and only Allie Louie.
All right. So I work at Coca-Cola. I write Python code to automate manual tasks like creating spreadsheets, sending emails, and tracking credit card numbers of Pepsi buyers to ensure that they get extra spam calls. But I love coding because it's really challenging. Before I was coding, I was a college math professor for 7 years. And yeah, thank you so much. And I quit because it was just too easy. I have gone as far as you can go as a mathematician. In fact, every weekend, I do mathematics on national television. Yeah. I'm a gymnastics judge for the NCAA. Calculating deductions in gymnastics is way harder than any math I've ever had to do in grad school. I mean, never in grad school did I have to do mathematics in front of 13,000 people booing at me in the middle of a coliseum. Never in grad school did I take a test, go home, open Twitter, and see people tweeting about me saying, "America hates you, you ugly whore." Am I a gymnastics judge or a villain on The Bachelor? Anyone watch The Bachelor here? All right, awesome. Well, I love The Bachelor because it's just so interesting to see a bunch of 23-year-olds say that they feel like they're destined to be single forever because they haven't been in a relationship in a year and a half. But listen, I probably felt this way too when I was 23. I was actually single for 8 years after that. So listen, I know I was single for 8 years in my 20s. No, it wasn't because when I was into a guy, I would Google their street address, type it in a Zillow, see how much money they paid for the house, see what their house looks like inside, and where they slept at night. It was actually because I only wanted to date someone that knows and understands what I do at work. Now listen, when I was a math professor, they didn't have to know how to prove that every bounded infinite subset of the set of real numbers has an accumulation point. Okay? I mean, I'm not that picky. They just had to know how to do a calculus problem. And then when I got into coding, they didn't have to know how to use Win32 packages in order to do graphical user interface automation. Okay? Again, not that picky. They just had to know what my t-shirt meant if it said "Hello World." Well, you can imagine how dating was in my 20s. I went on 10 dates with this engineering guy until he told me that he doesn't even look at people's profiles or pictures when he swipes. He just swipes right on everyone to increase his chances of getting a match. That was the last time I ever saw him, okay? A normal person may think, oh yeah, he has no standards, he didn't choose you. But what disgusted me the most was the fact that he spent so much time, hours, days, using his finger to swipe right on his phone over and over and over. What a dumbass. You couldn't write a code to automate that shit? I mean, had he been able to automate it, he could have been the first person to reach the end of Bumble. You know what's at the end of Bumble? Taylor Swift. What a life Taylor Swift could have been living. Instead of dating Travis Kelce, she could have been dating an engineering douchebag with no standards. Instead of chugging beer at the Super Bowl with Blake Lively, she could have been sipping on coffee at a Lockheed Martin engineering conference with a lanky guy named Stuart. Missed opportunity. But anyway, fast forward to my 30s. I'm dating someone now. Oh, thank you so much. I can't tell if you all are genuinely happy for me or if you're just happy I'm not going to stalk your house on Zillow. But we were friends at first because I just wasn't attracted to him. I mean, because he didn't know what PEMDAS was. He thought that Python programming meant scheduling snakes to be aired on television. And worst of all, when I asked him his age, he just gave me the answer without showing me any work. So he was in the friend zone until one day he randomly texted me and he was like, "You can never be at infinity. You can only get closer to infinity." And I was like, holy shit, that is so deep. Where is he getting this from? Sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And then I realized when my YouTube channel view count went from 20 views to 2,000 views, he was just watching my calculus teaching videos on repeat. And that's the reason why we're dating. He's a creepy stalker, just like me. He knows more calculus than my students and didn't even have to pay the tuition for it. And he's made my calculus videos go so viral that they've entered the next generation of internet porn. Only math fans. Sometimes he's a special guest, and we use his Python to demonstrate exponential growth. Thank you so much.
Hallelujah, keep it going. Yes. I think we've finished the math portion of the show, so you guys can your anxiety can recede now. Saw a lot of people back there having flashbacks to Miss Parkinson and Algebra 1. It was not pretty. Okay, one more math joke. Thank you. All right, I appreciate the applause. Actually, this is something interesting fact. Do you know that if you have a brown paper bag that's got 7 red balls in it and 5 blue balls in it, and of those 12 balls, you pull 4 balls out at random, there is a 93% chance you are trapped in a word problem. Because that never really happens. No one ever asks you to do that. It's true. What else? One other quick joke before I bring our next comic up. A math joke, because I'm a mathematician, and you guys are stuck with me for the rest of the night. So why did the chicken cross the Mobius strip? To get to the... Oh, no, wait, that one doesn't work. All right. All right, you guys, I am very excited to have one of our special guests here at the Geekapalooza Comedy Show at the Skeptics track. She is a Dragon Con favorite, and she also has a lot of fantastic comedy credits. If I was going to introduce all of the places that she's performed and all the folks she's worked with, it would take all night. Showtime, Comedy Central. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, you love her. Please welcome to the stage, Leanne Lord! Oh my God, Leanne Lord is here!
Hey, everybody. Is that everybody? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that enthusiasm, and I'm really glad to be here doing my black job, everybody. Actually, I really do love what I do, you guys, and I've actually performed in all 50 states. Yes, and now I can honestly say we don't need all 50. Like, I think we'd be good if we got back down to our colonial weight. And you know how good it feels when you lose that last 37 pounds. I've actually been trying to take better care of myself. So I went to my doctor, and he said no caffeine, no fatty food, no alcohol. I said no copay. Not paying here heresy, sir. But I'm making a lot of changes in my life. Being here is actually very inspiring. I've been thinking about going back to school. Yeah. But apparently you have to be invited to go to Hogwarts. Sometimes I feel awkward and uncomfortable telling people that I went to Harvard, especially since I didn't. I actually graduated. I went to school. I graduated from UCLA. Thank you. Thank you. University on the corner of Lexington Avenue. Thank you. Actually, and please don't tell my parents, I almost didn't graduate. That last semester, y'all, I had a class at 7:30 a.m. Exactly. It might as well have been 7:30 BC because I wasn't there either. Plus, it was calculus. Thank you. All right. Never in the history of ever has anybody wooed for calculus. Congratulations. And I am so embarrassed to admit this in this room, in front of these folks, in front of y'all. I'm one of those folks that's not good at math. Okay? And it seems like a lot of people aren't, and it's getting worse, right? I was at the store, right? And I got to the register, and my bill came to $8.50. I gave the cashier $10. She rang it in. I then found and gave her 50 cents, and she froze. She stood so still for so long, I thought we were playing freeze tag. Finally, she said, I don't know how much to give you back. I said, $10. Because I'm not good at math. I think that's why some people are afraid that AI is smarter than humans. But let's be honest, y'all. I think that ship sailed with the VCR. The clock on my VCR flashed noon from the day I got it to the day it died. Time of death, 12 o'clock. But I understand. I choose to be on the positive side. Like, technology is amazing, you guys, right? Like, look, I just got these shoes yesterday, right? Which is crazy because I ordered them today. But I also understand the other side of it. Change is scary, right? And I remember my parents were so upset when school stopped teaching cursive handwriting, right? But to be fair, parents probably felt the same way when they stopped teaching hieroglyphics. Mad as hell their kids can't read the writing on the wall. But we've come full circle, right? We've gone from hieroglyphics to emojis. That's a whole language, right? We can write the Constitution in emojis. First Amendment, microphone. Second Amendment, gun. Third Amendment, If Schoolhouse Rock didn't sing it, I don't know it. But I'm glad y'all are here having a good time because we need to laugh more, y'all. The number one killer in the United States right now is stress. Number two killer is a dude on my block named Quan. Oh, I'm sorry. Killer Quan. Because you know, Instagram. Follow him before he follows you. But I was told one of the best ways to beat stress, and you might have heard about this, actually, there's a few ways, is to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like nobody's watching. That's easier said than done. Because I think most of us work like we're deep in debt, love like we're lonely and desperate, and dance like we're having a seizure. But I know, listen, I gotta go. My birthday is tomorrow, and thank you. Yes, Virgo. Oh my, woo. Once again, I usually don't get that level of excitement for being a Virgo. Because I saw a list of 28 serial killers and their zodiac signs. 10 of them were Virgos. I can see it. Because we love checking things off our to-do list. Why not Donna from Human Resources? But listen, if y'all have enjoyed me tonight, my name is Leanne. It's got an odd spelling to it, and I'll spell it because I want y'all to follow me on social media. So it's Leighann. My parents were having a very creative day. My last name is Lord, Lord. That was the best name to have in Catholic school. Right? I was like, no, the Lord is not doing detention today. Matter of fact, nobody is. Let my people go. Y'all, thank you so much. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
Man. See, we are getting deity on you now. It is fun. All right, what else? Leanne was talking about, the shoes, and she bought them in the past, and time is really interesting. Actually, it's one of the very few man-made things that ideas that everyone on the planet has agreed upon. Right? We decided that we're going to have 24 sections of the planet, and that we're all going to agree that if you're on this side of this line, it's today, and if you're on that side of the line, it's tomorrow. Yeah, I actually, when I was, talking about my calculator, I was also a little bit of an inventor. I invented a time machine. Yes, it's true. You doubt me. The thing about time is that it travels. My time machine can actually. I actually tested it out just yesterday. I got in there. It goes in one direction at a constant speed, and I got in there and I set the timer for 5 minutes in advance just to check its calibration, and then I got back out after 5 minutes and I checked, and all the clocks were 5 minutes ahead. Like, I traveled into the future. So that's pretty cool. I just have to do the other speeds and the backward stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our next performer, also a time traveler at one direction at a constant speed. Ladies and gentlemen, he's very funny. He is one of the fantastic performers who has been a stalwart of the Atlanta comedy scene for years, decades, even centuries. He is actually a timeless person himself. Please welcome to the stage the one and only A.K. Bjorn!
White dudes have an interesting relationship with time travel. Um, if you get like a couple of white dudes together and the topic of time travel comes up, I guarantee you in like 14 and a half minutes, smooth, the topic of if you could travel back in time, what would you do comes up in conversation, and it inevitably leads to I would go back in time and I would kill told you Hitler and explicitly baby Hitler. And it feels like it's a loose excuse to go and kill a baby. Which is weird to me. I feel like I've got a better solution. Y'all want to hear it? Okay. Instead of going back in time and killing baby Hitler, I mean, like, you have some problems with that because there's the whole paradox. You go back in time and try to kill Hitler, you might open the door for somebody worse, right? And in theory, that's what happened. Somebody went in time, killed the previous version, and then they saw like, oh shit, we got a Hitler now. We done fucked up, right? So they don't do that anymore. In theory, that's what happened. My better solution, and hear me out, is you go back and you bang Hitler's mom. Now ride with me. Imagine going back in time with the like 4,000 hours of Pornhub stored right here. You're gonna tell me that she's gonna turn down time traveler dick? I don't think so. There's no way. She's not. All right, I don't know. I don't know when the ball gag was invented. Okay. But okay, ball gag, thumb in the butt, right? You're giving it. You're gonna tell me she's gonna look at Mr. Hitler like, yeah, this is still gonna go on? Hell no! She's had time traveler dick. He's a lame now. There's no fucking way. A friend of mine posed the option, and they said, AK, what if you fuck around and then you're the dad now? Oh shit, I didn't think about that. I did not consider that. And like, what do I hang around and be like, Adolf Jacarius, get your ass away from there? Like, is that an option? I know I just took you through like the weirdest butterfly effect on God's green earth, but I just feel like we've got options when it comes to time travel. I like seeing all these white faces here because I get to share some knowledge. Some of you have black friends, but your black friends don't tell you all the shit that you might want to know. For instance, black people in general, like we tell people that we are not a monolith. All right. And if you're not familiar with that phrase, that means that like black people have different likes, interests, and motivations, and what one black person likes, another black person may not give two shits about. The other thing that your black friends may not tell you is that we're told from a very young age that we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. It's something that we're ingrained with. And I can't think of a better example of these two ideals than Kamala Harris and Mayor Tiffany. Does anybody here know who Mayor Tiffany is? Oh, good. Uh, this is fantastic. We all know who Kamala Harris is, right? Right? Statistically, is likely to become the next president. That's fantastic. And I got a little daughter. I'm glad she's gonna grow up and where like having a black lady president is not gonna be weird. It's just gonna be real regular, right? She worked real hard, went to like college and became district attorney and shit. It's awesome. And then you have Mayor Tiffany. Mayor Tiffany is the youngest, uh, first female mayor of Dalton, Illinois. Yeah. She's black. She's awesome. And she's also under federal indictment for money laundering and like sexual harassment and like stealing like thousands and thousands of dollars from the town. And I look at Mayor Tiffany and I say, that is what Dr. King marched for. That's it. That's the diversity that he was trying to like instill. I mean, imagine like in general, we like okay, local crime like that, we assume is only for the white man. We were like, we will never be able to reach those kinds of heights. And look at her. Had to work twice as hard to crime just as much as the white man. She broke a glass ceiling that we didn't even know existed. She broke the glass ceiling. She's not going to get through the iron bars, but she broke the glass ceiling. And I think we can all be proud of that. Yeah? Fantastic. My name is AK. Y'all have a good night.
So, you guys doing good? Having a good time? Yeah, got a good lineup, right? You got all kinds of folks still coming up. You guys like playing games? Hell yeah, this is a Dragon Con. There's a lot of gamers out there. My wife played a word game with me the other day. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, so the game, it's a stupid game. I thought it was a stupid game. She said you pick two random letters. And anyway, the game, it was okay. All right. That was bad. That was a bad joke. I'm going to take full responsibility for that joke. The fact that Allie is the only one Allie and I are the only ones who enjoy that joke tells me that it's a math joke, so I will put it in that column. So, I was talking a little bit about time travel. Thank you. I love the Hitler thing. Never actually, as a Jew, I've never actually wanted to go back and kill Hitler, because that might mean that I would have a much larger family. There's a lot more holidays to remember. Just be complicated. My family's complicated enough. Man. Well, I am a Jew. Which is actually great. Any Jews out here? There must be Jews at Dragon Con. Yeah? All right. So, as a Jewish male, it was great for the first 7 days. Then I started wondering, what's this all about? Well, ladies and gentlemen, enough about my foreskin. I want to bring our next comedian up. Let me bring up our next comic. She is another fantastic, geeky, local comedy performer. You may have seen her at various other events because she's been on many Dragon Con stages this weekend. Very happy to have her back here at the Geekapalooza Comedy Show at the Skeptrack. So please welcome to the stage the incredibly talented and fantastic Vandy Beth Glenn!
Evening, everybody. It's great to be here at Geekapalooza again. I love it whenever Lou asks me. I've known Lou for a long time, since like, I don't know, Vietnam. Just want to offer a content warning before I begin. I do a clean set. I don't think you have to push boundaries to be funny. The other day I was at an open mic, and a friend of mine started telling incest jokes. Went up to him afterward. I said, "Incest jokes, Matt? Really? You kiss your mother with that mouth?" Is everyone having a good weekend, a good Dragon Con? Yeah, aren't the elevators running great here at the Hilton? Yeah, if you haven't noticed, they all have elevator operators to help them run more smoothly, help us get where we need to go faster. And since there are no more elevator operators, they've pulled people off of their regular jobs to do that this weekend. I was on an elevator yesterday, and I looked at the ID tag of the woman who was running the elevator for us. It said she was a senior sales manager. I said, this is quite a bit different from your regular job, isn't it? She said, yeah, but this is okay. Made me wonder what the junior sales manager's doing this weekend. The Hilton wanted all their best people here. But I've recently begun a new job. I've become a librarian. Thank you. Yes. Don't clap too hard, because I'm going to get fired. I'm not good at this job. It turns out alphabetical order is a lot more complicated than I ever guessed. Did you know some names have apostrophes in them? I don't know where they go. There's no apostrophe in the alphabet. I've sung that song like 100 times. It's not in there. There was a patron the other day who said to me, "Can you help me find programming for dummies?" And I said, "No." Can you help me find libraries for dummies? But libraries are great these days. They're really, really amazing places, and they're not just about books anymore. You can get anything at a public library. Seeds for your garden, laptops, COVID. What really amazes me is all the books for children these days. Now they still have all the books that I read when I was a kid, like the Narnia books by C.S. Lewis, or Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, or Elmer Gantry by Sinclair Lewis. I was kind of a weird kid. But now they have kids' books that are more postmodern and kind of edgy, like Green Eggs and Ham and Zombies, The Cat in the Hat and Your Mom. And it turns out there's a last book in that series about the inquisitive young chimpanzee. It's called Curious George and the Three-Prong Outlet. But it's my first time working outside the house in quite a while, so there's been a bit of an adjustment. Soon after I started there, my coworkers gave me a form to fill out. They called it a hospitality form, which was to let them know about any restrictions I might have for when we have office parties. Like if I keep kosher, or if I have any allergies. And I always feel uncomfortable filling these out because I don't want to lie, but also I'm only allergic to penicillin. No one's going to serve brownies at the Christmas party that accidentally have penicillin in them. But I think it's funny that sometimes people think they don't realize that allergies are an all or nothing kind of thing. They'll say things like, "Oh, you're allergic to gluten." Well, these cookies just have a little bit of gluten in them. if there's any gluten at all, they're going to need an EpiPen to save their lives. And or they might say things like, well, this spaghetti is made with oregano and black pepper and a dash of penicillin. Just the slightest amount of penicillin. It's so little, tomorrow morning you'll still have syphilis. But life is never going to be 100% safe. Like I said to my uncle on the day he died, I packed the parachute myself. And that's about all I have. Thank you all for tonight.
You guys holding up? Yes. We're barreling through. We have so many funny comedians here. We want to make sure you get a chance to hear them all. I got to tell you, I studied math. I learned math. I teach at Georgia Tech. I have to use the university system of Georgia, the state-approved grading policy. Yeah, and you guys are probably, many of you may have been gone through UGA or GSU or any of the other any Georgia public system graduates out there? I figured as much. No. All right. How about ABD? Any of the folks who almost made it? No. The thing is, the Georgia system is actually pretty simple. The Board of Regents, ever since Sonny Perdue took over, it's 80 to 90%. Well, they have a standard grading policy, right? 90 to 100 is an A. 80 to 90% will buy a B, and straight on down the line like that. You can purchase any grade you want if you have enough money. All right. That one didn't work. I'm just trying out all the bad jokes that makes the other comedians look good. So let me bring up a very, very funny comedian. This guy, also a Dragon Con favorite. He has, you may have seen him earlier if you went to the Science and Fiction Comedy Show over at the Hyatt. He was, if you missed it, come check it out next year. It was a huge success. He's had several Netflix specials. So we are very lucky to have him here at the Geekapalooza Comedy Stage at the Skeptics track. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ian Harris!
Nice. That was way too much of a build-up. Give it up for everyone you've seen so far, please. Yes? Yes. So Leanne was up here earlier. Leanne and I do a show every year called the Science and Fiction Comedy Show. And it's really cool. Check it out if you guys. It's usually on Fridays. And we're brought out by Skeptrack, by the Skeptics, because we are skeptics. I am not a scientist. I'm not a mathematician. I'm barely educated. But I'm a comedian who likes science, and I don't understand people who don't understand science. I have a lot of religious friends who apparently don't understand science because they like to argue with me all the time. My one friend says to me the other day, he goes, hey man, so you believe in evolution? And I'm like, well, that's an oddly posed question. Do I believe in the fact that is evolution by natural selection? Of course I do. And he goes, well, it's just a theory, right? And I said, just a theory? A theory is one of the highest levels of knowledge you can achieve in science. Let's look at some other things that are just theories. Gravity is just a theory. Plate tectonics is just a theory. Germ theory is just a theory. So if you've ever said the phrase, just a theory, I'd say you either don't know the meaning of the word theory or you don't know the meaning of the word just, okay? You probably say other shit like, don't worry about that thing swimming down there. That can't hurt you. That's just a great white shark. That guy, he can't fuck anything up. He's just the president of the United States. Condom, it's just herpes. It's just a joke, by the way. My friend goes, well, can you prove your point, your evolution? Can it be proven 100% without any other possibilities of any other possibilities? And I said, well, no, that's not how science works. And he goes, aha, then I got you because you don't know. You don't know. And I said, that's fine, I'll concede, I don't know. And he goes, well, when it comes to Jesus, I know. And I said, no, man, you believe, and that's cool, you can believe. He goes, no, I know. And I said, no, man, you believe. He goes, no, I said, I know. He's like, I said, you believe. And we got to this. He goes, I know, you believe. I know, you believe. And finally I had to say, hey, this word know, I do not think it means what you think it means, okay? How can I explain this so that you'll understand it better? I can't say that I know you're a fucking idiot. That is just a theory. People deny science all the time. Have you ever met anybody who denies any other form of academia? I mean, other than history in Florida. But I mean, if like, have you ever met a math denier? I've never met a math denier. I've never been in a conversation with someone like mathematics. You believe in mathematics? I mean, that shit don't add up, man. I'm just telling you. You probably think your mathematics is absolute, don't you? You think 1 + 1 is 2 because they told you. Think it's always going to be 2. Not in God's world, pal. God is all powerful. God can make 1 + 1 whatever the heck he wants it to be. If God wants 1 + 1 to be chicken pot pie, guess what? 1 + 1 is chicken pot 3.1415926535897. I don't know. It's a stupid joke, but that was pi plus 14. I don't know. To 14. So I think it's the only joke that goes that far. I don't know of a joke that takes pi past 10. To be quite honest with you. I argue a lot with religious people. I don't care if you're religious. I'm an atheist. People like to talk to me about it. My friend comes to me at my house. He likes to go through my books. He likes to argue with me. He came across a Richard Dawkins book one time. He goes, Richard Dawkins? You like this guy? He's an idiot. He's a moron. I go, no, he's an evolutionary biologist. He's an author. He's a professor. He's hardly a moron. You may not agree with his positions. I don't agree with all of his positions, but he's not an idiot. And he goes, he's got nothing to say. He's got no new arguments. I said, really? There's 100 good points in that book. I'd love to hear you refute one of them. Smash it. Like, give me the one that you read through and you said, oh, this is garbage. I could kill this argument. Give me your rebuttal. Go. And my friend goes, well, I haven't read the book. And I go figure. A Christian who's got fervent beliefs about a book he's never actually read. People say I'm mean to Christians a lot. I don't mean to be. If you're a Christian, I'm not trying to be mean to you. It's just the belief systems I don't agree with. I'll argue all day long about the ideology. I got nothing against Christians. I actually will go so far as to say I actually believe that the world would be a much better place if more Christians were more Christ-like. Can we agree with that? Thank you very much. Yes, the world would be a much better place if more Christians were more Christ-like, and by that, of course, I mean imaginary. Maybe that's why people think I'm mean to Christians. That's possible. Oh, man. I'm going to do this bit, and I'm going to go. I haven't done this bit in like 10 years. I'm going to do it because I'm a skeptic, and I'm talking about a little bit about religion here, and I'm talking about skepticism. So I'm going to tell you this story. I've got a daughter. She's 19 years old. That's how old this joke is. I did my first comedy special. It was called Critical and Thinking. I did it for Hulu in 2011. So my daughter was 6 years old, and I wanted to write a bit about the concept of original sin. So I was talking to my friend Andrew on the phone in the car. We were trying to come up with ideas. He's a comedian too. I was bouncing ideas back about original sin, and we couldn't come up with anything funny, anything original, anything that hadn't been done. So I just let it go. I said, all right, whatever, that's cool. I won't do a bit. From the back seat, my daughter goes, hey, Dad, what's original sin? I said, you know what? I'd love to explain it to you, but I've never subjected you to any sort of religion. The Bible, you don't know the characters in the Bible. It's not going to make any sense to you. She goes, well, could you give me an analogy? And I said, well, because you're 6 and you use the word analogy, I will. And I said, all right, look, I'll tell you this. Pretend Dad is God. Pretty easy to do, actually. I go, you know how I always tell you not to put your fingers in your food? She says, yeah. I go, okay, let's say I say, Bella, do not put your fingers in your food. If you do it again, I'm going to have to punish everybody on earth by punching them in the face. A couple weeks go by, we're eating dinner, and you put your fingers in your food. I'm like, what are you doing? I told you this. I gave you specific instructions to not put your fingers in your food. Now I got to punch everybody in the face. So that's what I do. I walk around the earth just punch people in the face. And I'm punching people in the face. Everywhere I go, bam, I'm punching people in the face. People are like, ow, why are you punching me in the face? I'm like, I'm punching you in the face because she put her fingers in her food. That's called justice. and I'm punching people in the face. And after a couple of thousand years or a few million, depending on whose book you read, I think to myself, I might be being a tad bit irrational. So I'll have a second child, this time a boy, a son, and I will punch him in the face. So that's what I do. I walk around the earth with this baby and I just start punching this baby in the face. And people are appalled, as they should be. They're like, oh my God, why are you punching that baby in the face? I said, I'm punching this baby in the face so that I don't have to punch you in the face because she put her fingers in her food. And my daughter starts laughing her ass off. She goes, Daddy, stop it. Stop it. I get it. You're a comedian. You're funny. Ha, ha, ha. Can you just please tell me the story? Can you please tell me what really happened? And I said, all right, fine. Look, God creates these two people, Adam and Eve, and he puts them in this garden. And he says to them, he goes, look, there's this fruit that I don't want you to eat. It's on the tree of knowledge. I can't have you learning or thinking or anything like that. It would be very detrimental to my career. So don't eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. And they said, that's fine. And then after a couple of weeks of talking, Snake comes along and he says to Eve, he goes, don't worry about that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Go ahead and eat the fruit. Eve eats the fruit. And God goes, whoa, what are you doing? I specifically warned you not to eat the fruit. Now I got to punish everybody for all eternity by sending them to hell. If you're born, you go to hell. I'm sorry, that's how it works. You're born to go, and that's what you're born, hell. Born, hell. Sorry, fire, eternity. Sorry, born, you go to hell. Sorry, you're born, you go to hell. I'm sorry, she ate some fruit. I'm sorry, it's not my fault. It's called justice. Born, you go to hell. And after a couple of thousand years or a few million, depending on whose book you read, God says to himself, I might be being a tad bit irrational. So I'm going to have a second child, a son, and murder him so that you don't have to go to hell because this chick ate some fruit. And at this point, my daughter gets angry. She goes, Daddy, stop it. I told you, quit joking around. That doesn't make any damn sense. Now tell me what really happened. And I just looked at her and I said, you know what, baby girl? That is the appropriate response. Thank you guys very much. Good night.
Keep it going for Ian Harris. Excellent. All right. 73 more comics. I'm kidding. Now, I was thinking about math, though. I was thinking about when I was a kid, when I first realized how important math was. It was when I was a young, probably like a tween, 12, 13 years old. I was walking through the mall, and there was a big sign outside the Victoria's Secret lingerie shop. It said, all bras 50% off. I was very excited. I walked in and then I was very disappointed because I thought everyone was just going to have one boob hanging out. That's not what it means. That's when I realized there's a real disconnect in math knowledge in the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I will bring up our next performer. She is a very funny, very talented woman. Her bra is 100% on, I believe. Sorry about that. Maybe later. Buy her a couple beers. No, she is actually, we're excited to have her because she is the executive director of a nonprofit called Science for Georgia. Yeah. That's something we could definitely use. And some of the comics you see here are part of the Science for Georgia Jazz Hands show that we do at the Atlanta Science Festival every spring. It's where we take geeks and STEM adjacent professionals and teach them some stand-up, and then they start to get off there and become better communicators because humor helps you communicate science. And no one better to show you that tonight than welcome to the stage with a big round of applause, Amy Sharma!
So what's great about that bra thing is, so Lou is on the board at Science for Georgia, so he's technically my boss. But the good news is we're so small we don't have an HR department, so you can still get away with that. We're at Dragon Con, yay, woo! Who here was raised to be a giant nerd. Really? Only like 3 of you? Come on, it's Dragon Con, right? Like, so, and I'm guessing your parents fall into categories, right? Like, there's the kind that are like super proud that you're here, like, oh, we raised them right, woo, right? And then there's the kind that's like horribly embarrassed that you were here, right? They're like, oh my God, it was bad enough when our neighbor's son came home with a pierced ear, and now you've got ear prosthetics? And then there's the like clueless but loving parents, right? They're like, well, Susie, she's going to Dragon Con this weekend, and I hope she has a good time. And I helped her pack her panda costume and her 24 pack of lube. So, I hope it's good. But anyways, of all these things, I was actually raised to be a 1950s housewife. I am not shitting you, right? Like my parents, my mom especially spent a lot of time making sure that I could keep up appearances. So that means I can set a table for an 8-course meal. I can hold a diplomatic conversation with a Trump supporter. And I also I can look the other way when my husband cheats on me with sugar tits at the office, right? Because for appearances, right? And so she made sure that at my for my wedding registry, now I got a silver-plated lasagna server. What the fuck is that? I have 3 different types of salad tongs and a chafing dish, right? So I am ready for mini quiches, Jello salad, and S&M. Because it is that type of chafing dish, right? And right. But we all know that's actually what happens at wine club, right? Or book club, actually, right? It's actually book club. But, there's wine, there's charcuterie, and there's Shabani, right? And so who knows what Shabani is? No one. You. Just you. Oh God, that's embarrassing. Anyways, so this is really sad. The 1950s housewife is going to help you learn a new trick. That's actually the art of erotic knot tying, which I thought that all of you at Dragon Con with your lube would, and I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm a fucking 1950s housewife. But anyways, I did not learn this word by Google Incognito, and you're probably like, why do you know this word anyways, crazy 1950s housewife? We're sitting at a work meeting, and I'm talking to a colleague about tying knots, and like some random guy just like, oh, hey, Shabani? And we're like, no, fucker, we're just going camping this weekend, right? Like, don't you love it when you're like at like a work meeting and all of a sudden, like, some colleague out of nowhere comes up with, and they know all the obscure symptoms for, I don't know, a rare disease that you can get when you blow llamas, right? And like you're like, fuck, dude, how do you know that? And they're like, oh, for a friend, right? And they're like, no, not for a friend. So anyways, so now, right, we're raising kids, right? Because that's a natural segue, as it were. Also, this is the 3rd fucking year in a row that Lou has put me behind the professional so first off, he's having me take off my bra. And now I'm behind the professional comics. And he's left the goddamn room. Where is he? Thanks, buddy. Anyways, so right. So raising nerds, right? So before I got married, right? And before we had kids, we established some rules. Like 1, he couldn't cheat on me with people at the office named Sugar Tits or just anyone. 2, we had to learn the chafing just safe word. But 3, we had very strict Star Wars viewing rules, right? Like 4, 5, and 6, you could only watch the originals because Han shot first, right? And they can't grow up in a world where he didn't do that. And also, episodes 1, 2, and 3, don't you be watching that filth in my house, right? Like, sure, Dick, like people say this about porn, right? Like parents have very strict rules about porn. I am fine with porn. I am fine with Stormy Daniels. I am fine whatever the fuck is gonna happen in the furry dance party down the hall, but like Jar Jar Binks? No fucking way, right? And like I was sitting there and my kid, we're out, we're getting milkshakes, and she's like, "Hey, where do rainbows come from?" And so instead of like saying leprechaun or unicorns, because we all know unicorns assholes, right? So she and I would like pull up the phone and I pull up the electromagnetic spectrum and I like explain light, and she's like fucking 4, right? And so like, how did this go at preschool the next day? Ooh, who likes rainbows? Right, everyone raises their hand except the weird kid who's gonna grow up to set cats on fire. Um, right, so she's doing that, and like, where do rainbows come from? Leprechauns, unicorns, light refraction. My kid has like, she's sitting there, they're drawing rainbows, she's deriving Maxwell's equations. Right. And so for birthdays, right, normal people put like the number 7 on their candle when their kid's turning 7. No, you get six six candles, and if it's lit, that's on or a 1, and if it's not lit, it's off or a 0. Yes, that's right. We do birthdays in binary in the Sharma household. And so, yeah, so anyways, I know it's all going wrong though. My kid's starting to rebel. She turned 13. We were out, we were buying her birthday stuff. She's like, "Can I just have candles like a normal human?" She bought the damn like thing with the rainbows coming out of the unicorn's butt. And then she came home and she was like, ah. So I was at Melissa's house and we were experimenting, and I watched episode 1 and I really liked Jar Jar. So I failed. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Amy Sharma, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We got a couple more very funny folks coming up. I'm gonna. I want to do a quick impression, actually, just to break up the next act. Our next, I'm gonna do an impression. I want to do this before the show gets too late because it's an impression that baby boomers will appreciate, and I know many of them are going to bed. So this is my impression of Robert Kennedy Jr., not Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that you guys know from the news, but his dad, Robert Kennedy. My impression of Robert Kennedy in geometry class. This is it's like before 1968, obviously. All right. Robert Kennedy in geometry class. Here we go. Imagine I'm standing in front of a chalkboard. Draw Cartesian X and Y axis. Some people look at this axis and they say, why? I distinguish a specific point on the axis and I say, why not? Yes, thank you. Thank you, all of those who sat through a physics lecture. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to introduce our next performer. They are very, very funny. This person used to be working in the restaurant business, service industry. Then they moved into becoming a software engineer. And they also work at Netherworld. If you guys have ever been to one of the best haunted houses in the state of Georgia, they are a haunted house actor as well as a stand-up comedian. So please welcome to the stage, Sev Amina. Sev and Amina.
Yeah, just a quick plug for Netherworld Haunted House. Haunt season starts this month, in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank Science for Georgia. The Jazz Hands program is where I got to get started with comedy, stand-up comedy writing workshops, meeting all these really smart and educated people like master's degrees, double master's degrees, PhDs, founders, inventors. I really could relate to these people because, I myself am the first person in my family who is an addict and probably an alcoholic. Y'all are like, wait, how are you a scientist? Well, I experimented with drugs and alcohol And I found out that once I started using substances or drinking, I could not stop. I wanted to kind of think about and share my story and how I got to where I am today. Yeah, addiction is it just kind of happens to people regardless of what they look like, what their background is, where they're from. Even though today we think that there is a strong genetic component that can predict whether or not a person might have an addictive or a tendency towards having problems with addiction. Like my parents weren't addicts; they weren't alcoholics. My dad was the type of person who would drink like half of a beer and then put plastic wrap over it and then put it in the fridge to save for later. Yeah, dude, enjoy your warm beer, Dad. Your flat beer, I guess it's cold because it's in the fridge. My mom never touched beer. She would put it in batters for like frying stuff. We're Vietnamese. We have these crepes called bun sao. So she'd fry those up with beer batter. And maybe I got my first taste of alcohol from there. But she never drank. And my parents did like Coke though. They were really into Coca-Cola. So they really tried to raise me right, keep me on the straight path. But in high school, I joined the debate team, and that's when I started doing drugs. One night after a tournament, my partner came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go hotbox with us?" And he was one of the cool kids. I really wanted to hang out with the cool kids, but then, like a debate kid, I'm kind of going through the pros and cons. Like, oh, dude, don't do drugs. They're bad. That's what they said on TV. You did dare. It's awful. Criminals, losers do drugs. Like, don't do drugs. You'll end up in prison. You'll die. Like, oh, but I want to hang out with the cool kids. I don't know about y'all. At my high school, the cool kids did debate. They they also smoked weed, and I ended up smoking with them. And um, yeah, I managed to get through the rest of high school. But then it was in college. I went to a party college where I really started to discover myself. I was actually a really good student in college. The university actually let me go after just one semester, right? Major in partying, double minor, smoking weed, getting blackout drunk. They put a certificate on my transcript. It said academic suspension. That's a Latin term for really good at partying. Party animal. Unlike most college graduates, I got to use my degree directly after leaving college by working in the restaurant industry. And this was a really good place to be for somebody who had a problem with drugs and alcohol because it was everywhere. So for the next 10 years, I'm just constantly surrounded by really everything. I'm from a legal state too, so there'd be times when people would just tip me in weed. Like I literally couldn't escape it, and I didn't want to. But the pandemic came, and I just fast forward started to work on a career change. So now I'm working in the tech industry. I'm still feeling awful all the time. I don't know what to do about like not being able to control my using like all whatever drinking alcohol. So I did what any non-broke person with health insurance would do in my situation. I started going to therapy. Woo! Who else goes to therapy? Yeah. More people need to try it out. Um, I'm on some antidepressants at this time, and they're not feeling it. My therapist starts to suggest to me, well, have you ever considered maybe there's like an interaction between like all that shit you're putting in your body and the antidepressants? Like maybe that's why they're not working. Like no, I just need a stronger antidepressant. Um, she says, well, have you ever tried to stop drinking or stop using recreational drugs? Like yeah, but it doesn't. I never was able to like stop. She goes, well, have you considered maybe you should go to rehab? And I'm kind of offended at that. I don't know why, but I was just deeply upset that she suggested that I go somewhere to get help with this problem that I've been having for most of my life. So I told her, why don't you go fuck yourself? She broke up with me. My therapist broke up with me after that. And the joke's on me, though, because I did go to rehab. Hold on, I gotta. This is water. Yeah, my throat's really dry. Liquid Death was really popular in rehab. It's canned water. Um, yeah, I was in rehab. I'm gonna assume most people here haven't gone to seek treatment for alcohol use disorder, substance use disorder. But the main concept, it's rehab is short for rehabilitation, so another Latin term. Um, it kind of means to like, make better or make different. So the idea is that this is an environment where if people need help, they can come in. They don't have to do things by themselves. Like I didn't have to try to get sober on my own, but there were other people there who were also there who could support me. I could learn from them, and then in turn, I could help other people too. And then I'd leave and then try to reintegrate back into society without turning to drugs or alcohol for coping with the problems that I have in my life. Um, so I go into rehab, and the first day they're like, tell us it's group therapy. They're like, introduce yourself. What's your name? What's your drug of choice? How long have you been sober? And why are you here today? So yeah, I'm. My name is Savan. I my drug of choice is marijuana. I like drinking too, but I love smoking weed. I've been sober for 6 hours. And the reason that I'm here today is because I can keep my bong clean, but I can't keep my house clean. It's okay to laugh. They all laughed too. But you know who laughed the most were the other people who were there seeking treatment for marijuana addiction. So that's kind of the beginning of my recovery journey. I'm coming up on time, but I'm happy to say, my recovery at this point is more about a lesson in discovery, trying to find out who I am, doing things, trying new stuff. I'm like a year and a half sober now. Yeah, my name is Sav N. If you want to come talk to me later, please come up. I love to chat.
Keep it going for Sev and yes, they are one funny mother. All right, funny motherfucker. All right, we are ready to close out this show with this last group of comics. We saved the firepower for the end. You guys ready? Yes. All right. This next performer, you may actually have seen him on television. He's been all over the Weather Channel. He's not a hurricane. He's actually a very funny guy though. He's I would say one of the kings of the Atlanta comedy scene. You might have seen him around DragonCon. He's been around DragonCon for years. If you've ever had a photo op with Jim Henson and Kermit, that's this man right here. He is, oh yeah, that guy. Very funny. We're really happy to have him here, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to the stage, Dan Wiggs.
Lou's my favorite dad. Lou's my favorite dad. I love Lou. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? You guys having a good con? I lost my voice 3 days ago. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I have to do 45 minutes in front of you guys. We're locked in right now. I took 2 mushrooms before I walked on here. That's what's happened. Man, this is a long hallway. Holy shit. They were not lying when they said in the hallway. All right, it's good to be here, guys. I have an interesting face. That's what people tell me. I don't look like anyone specifically, but I have been described as Union soldier, third from the left in an Abraham Lincoln photo. Just like a very basic white guy. Okay, fuck you. Show's over. We're done. That's crazy. Like, I spent so much money on this Dragon Con. I spent $300 on my cosplay and Molly. You know what my cosplay is? A normal looking dude with $300 worth of Molly in his pocket. Right? Right? And now it's like a normal looking dude with $25 worth of Molly in his pocket. Okay. All right. Good deal. Glad we're here. This is interesting. I always like doing Geekapalooza with Lou and Dr. P and everybody else who comes up here. They have a lot of, they're very technical guys. I hate technology. I hate it. All right. Here's why I hate technology. All it's done for me is force me to come up with more passwords to log into everything. Every fucking day, it's a new password. It's another device that Google doesn't remember. I feel like when you die and go to hell, they're going to make you log into hell. Every day from a different device. Do you trust this computer? Fuck no. Welcome to hell. People like it's for your own safety. It's for your own security, so nobody steals your identity. It's like, really? You want to steal the identity of a 40-year-old man who just put a mattress on layaway? You can have that identity. I do not want that identity. I've been in the woods doing mushrooms for 3 days trying to lose that identity. That's called the factory reset right there. What's up? Boom. Let's go, Dragon Con. You ever log into something you haven't logged in a couple days that always starts off really helpful and then it gets slowly unhinged and aggressive as shit? It's always like, hey, thanks for logging in. We notice you haven't logged in a couple days. Why don't you go ahead and re-enter in your password just so we know it's you? Hey, thanks for re-entering in that password on top of the original password. Just as an extra layer of security, we're going to go ahead and text you a 6-digit code. So go ahead and check your phone, enter that 6-digit code on top of the re-entered password, on top of the original password. Hey, thanks for entering that 6-digit code on top of the re-entered password, on top of the original password. Guess what, Buttercup? Nothing in life is that easy, because check your email. We just emailed you a 10-digit code. You need to enter it on top of the 6-digit code, on top of the re-entered password, on top of the original password. Hey, while you're at it, look at these 4 photos. Which one's a dump truck? Then they'll ask you some shit like, you sure you're not a robot? Bitch, you're a robot. You're a fucking robot asking me if I'm a robot. This is way too much security for Spirit Airlines. Right. Like, I'm trying to get a plane ticket to Miami, Florida. What about that transaction makes you think I give a shit about safety and security? I'm trying to do cocaine out the back of a jet ski. And besides, this is my mom's credit card. I don't have that information. I can't wake her up for a CVV code. What does that even mean? CVV code. Bullshit, right? Okay. How much more time do I have? 47 minutes? Let's do this. Oh, it's right there. All right. Excuse me. I thought this was a karaoke machine. Like, I was like, we're about to do Walking in Memphis in this motherfucker. I don't have a voice, but I will for Walking in Memphis. Because that is the greatest goddamn song ever. There's 3 people who matter in Tennessee. Dolly Parton, Elvis Presley, Young Dolph, Mark Cohen. That's 4 people. I went to public school in Florida. I don't know how to count. So, yeah. I live in Florida now. That's why I'm dressed like a 1980s cocaine dealer. So, we had a hurricane a couple of weeks ago, and we had a lot of flooding, and what this did is it displaced a lot of the local reptile population. All right, so I'm taking my dog, sweet baby Nugget, out in the middle of the night. All right, I open the door. Out of the dark jumps this gigantic toad at me. I have to matrix myself away from it, and it's in the foyer. And I look at it. It is the size of Shaquille O'Neal's foot, and I'm not fucking kidding. And I'm like, oh, that's why there's no state tax, because they have shit like this in Florida. And I look at it, and I realized, oh, this is a cane toad. This is a toxic frog. All right, my dog will eat this and die, or I can take the toxins, scrape it off the back, dry it, smoke it, and get high as shit. So I got a decision to make. I thought about it for a second. I'm like, nope, I can't risk Sweet Baby Nugget's life like that because I have a surprise quinceanera planned for her in 2 weeks. So what I do is like I pick up like a skillet because I have no weapons in the house. Weird for a Floridian, I know. And I just kind of scoop it out and then throw it in the neighbor's yard. Fuck it, not my problem anymore. All right, so now part two of the story. I'm walking back in. All right, I go to grab the door handle. All right, on the door handle is a 4-inch long green tree frog. I touch it. It jumps on me. We lock eyes. All right, every ounce of masculine energy left my body immediately. And it was like waving like this. I screamed so loud, my neighbor comes outside of his house because he thought somebody was beating their wife. He comes out and he goes, "Did you hear a woman scream out here?" I was like, yeah, I did. That's why I came outside. Like, she sounded like she was in a lot of trouble. I know. That's why I came outside. We got to help her. Let's go. All right. I'm Dan Weeks, guys. Thank you so much. Keep it going for Lou. I love this so fucking much. Thank you, guys.
Dan Weeks, keep it going. All right, we're going to keep it going too. Only a couple more comics left. Ladies and gentlemen, our next performer. She is incredibly funny. Another Atlanta comedy scene, Geekapalooza favorite. She has performed all over the United States. We're really, again, lucky to have her here. So please welcome to the stage the incredibly talented, the funny, the one and only, the unique Crystal Pierce.
Give it up one more time for Lou. My favorite guy who talks about math. He gets up here and he starts doing math problems, and I'm laughing like I know what the fuck he's talking about. Then he brings a bunch of smart people up, and I'm like, oh, right. I'm the hot idiot part of the show. Me and Dan. It's great. I love it. Someone asked me what my cosplay was, and I was like, just titties. I don't know. I can't help you. I just bring the titties out. I don't know what to do, you know. That's my go-to move for anything. It's like, hey, you're going to a con? Titties. You're going on a date? Titties slightly covered, but still titties. You know, you're going to the club, you want to look hot? Titties. Titties are always the answer, for sure. I don't know where I'm going with this. I was thinking about crack a lot over there. I'm always thinking about crack. I don't have a problem. I've never had it, but I think it's the solution to all of our problems. If you think about conspiracy theories these days are just not, they're not conspiring the way they used to. Like conspiracy theories used to be fun. Like there would be like, there's no way in fucking hell that's even true. Where did you get that idea from? Or it'd be like, that's so far off that maybe that could be. But now it's just like shit that happened yesterday. It seems made up that we're living in a time that was a movie 20 years ago. Like Idiocracy was a movie. We're here. Everybody's wearing Crocs. You know that's the shoe that they were wearing in that movie? All the idiots were walking around in Crocs. You know how many pairs of Crocs I have with the gibbets? And then as soon as they come out with a new Croc, I'm like, it's the same fucking shoe, but it's just like an addition. It's like, hey, you're that weird bitch that likes Harry Potter, right? You know, we got the Deathly Hollows on this Croc. And we'll give you 2 of the little things that you put in the hole for free. Platform 9 3/4 and whatever the fuck, a lightning strike. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to have it. Yeah, okay. So everybody in here really doesn't like that joke. Okay, I still wear my Crocs. I'm proud of it. But yeah, I just miss when conspiracy theories were just like super fun. And I feel like crack is the way. Like that's my conspiracy theory now. Like we need to actively bring crack back, you know? Just major crack distribution through the streets. Because think about it, when crack was around, everything was great. Like you could get a 7-bedroom house for 45 grand. Milk was like 20 cents. eggs was like $1 and a tit grab. Like it was a time to be alive. But to be fair, you can't put it in my neighborhood because my people have had their time with the crack. You know, so I feel like we should just take the crack to like Alpharetta. Like, let's take the crack to the whites where it belongs. Because it really got a bad rap because it was with black people. So, like, if we just put crack on like the golf course, there's a white man in here who plays golf, I know. And he secretly hates Tiger Woods because, like, how dare he be that good? And a Negro, a biracial Negro at that. And now he's got his quadruple son. I know that's racist, but that's what that nigga is. I can say it because I'm a black woman. So we just put the crack on the golf course. We tell the white man you'll be better than Tiger and any other black. Then they'll take it, they'll do it, and we can get back to like curing inflation. Now, like, granted, this idea is not thought out very well. I just want white people to struggle a little bit. I just want them to be cracked out. It's a dream of mine. It's a lot of talk about the Lord tonight. That's odd. I was expecting more orgy talk, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Well, when I think about God, truly, I'm gonna just be the one to say it. Like heaven seems way better than hell, but like legit seems like a yawn. Like if you think about the idea of heaven, peace, and like just praising God, which is, you know, cool. Or we could really have fun. And my idea of heaven is just a place that I know how to twerk. Like because even though I'm very chocolate and I'm also from the hood, I have no rhythm. So it's awful. Because I'm from Decatur, Georgia. Like I am from where the blacks were born. Like everybody was outside in the streets, shaking ass and having a good time. Like Freaknik happened on Candler Road. I live close to like right there, and I saw bitches shaking ass, and I was like, "Hey, mom, I want to do that." And unfortunately, I come from a two-parent household. My parents loved me. They snatched me up off the street, said, "Not my baby." Then my mother handed me two books that shaped my life, Pride and Prejudice and Harry Potter. Why would she do that to a young black child? There is no ass twerking in those books. What is this malarkey? Now I'm a grown bitch in the club screaming, I'm a Ravenclaw. Looking for a bad boy. Are you a Slytherin? Do that weird black girl dance when you can't dance, but you just rub your legs together like you're a cricket. Works for the white man. They don't know the difference. They just see a nice bitch with her titties out, and they're like, I'll take the chocolate one. No, I don't do white men. Not anymore. I used to, but I got burned. I used to date a poor white. You don't do that in the black community. All my friends were making fun of me. They were like, how dare you? And I was like, why? Because he's white? And they was like, we don't give a fuck about, he doesn't have a boat, bitch. You're supposed to get a white man with a boat. And I was like, I thought he did. Everybody in his family is successful. He's the poorest one. It's so sad that that happened to me. Think of a spell, you know? Get to the heavens and throw ass. Throw that ass in a circle, the song say. Not Crystal. She throws it in a semicolon and begs the Lord that one day raising the roof will become popular again. Somebody back there is raising a roof for the Lord. Let's do it together. Raise the roof. Yes, my people. I've been Crystal. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, Skeptic, Track, Geekapalooza, hardcore veterans. We got two more comics. You guys gonna stick it with us? Yes. Absolutely. It's Sunday night. DragonCon still goes on tomorrow. And I'm very happy to announce our next comic because he's one of the founders, the actual founder of Geekapalooza. He was a Georgia Tech faculty member, colleague of mine for many years. Then he defected. Now he's at that other university in the South that everybody knows for their football. No, not UGA. He's at Tuscaloosa. So he's now an Alabamian. And I think you'll be very happy as a DragonCon audience to know that he can tell you the full chemical structure of both Viagra and lube. Please welcome to the stage our chemical engineering funny guy, Pete, Dr. Pete Lodovis.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going for Lou Lefton. Lou Lefton, ladies and gentlemen. And Lou, fuck you. Why did you put me on so late? Me and the couple in the front are like, damn it, it's way past our bedtime. You should have known. Let's not say old, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say autumnal. That sounds better. I'll go with that. But yeah, so we started this thing probably close to 10 years ago. And we started it due to the stupidity of one man and one man alone. That would be Derek, who allowed us to do this. Believe it or not, we've been doing it continuously for about 10 years. There was 1 year we didn't do it. 1 year we were bumped by the amazing Randy, right? And me and the couple in the front row remember him on the Johnny Carson show, right? He used to debunk stuff all the time. Uri Geller, right? He's the guy that debunked Uri Geller. And then we came back because very shortly thereafter, the amazing Randy died. We had nothing to do with that. That's all I'm saying. Lou and I have ironclad alibis, so we're not going to do that. I've worked with most of these comedians over the years. And actually, I'm glad to be here because I was actually on crutches on Friday. Apparently, at my age, plantar fasciitis is enough to put you under. So they gave me this really good prescription muscle relaxer, which I took tonight before the show. Washed it down with 2 beers, so I'm really regretting that at this point. And then, of course, Amy got me some water to help me sober up. Liquid Death. I'm thinking I need a material safety data sheet with that one. That cannot be very good. But yeah, so I want to take issue with some of what was said tonight. Let me start with Allie. Did Allie leave already? Who could blame her? She doesn't want to be seen with people like us. So I hate to break it to you. At the end of Bumble is me, and it's a big letdown. It's not a good thing. So do not keep swiping on Bumble till you get to the end. That's definitely not good. Lou's very what he said was very true. The whole circumcision thing is very difficult for us old guys, right? Because at our age, we're hoping we could find some product on the internet that will make it bigger. And circumcision, you're cutting a piece off. That cannot be a good thing. But I had a similar situation because the old folks remember, right? We used to do it for hygiene reasons back in the 50s and 60s, right? Because we figured things would get dirty. Let's just cut a piece off. And then they realized tormenting small babies is a bad thing. But my son, of course, is not circumcised because that's not something they do necessarily now. So I'll never forget, he was a young kid. My wife and I were getting ready to go out for the evening, and he needed a bath. But I'm like, look, I got to get in the shower. We got to get going. We don't have enough time. So I bring him in the shower with me, and that was awkward, to say the least. He's basically said, Dad, does it bother you that they cut off a piece of your winky? And I'm like, no, son, until now. So that was not a good thing for me. Okay, so AK, don't think you're going to walk away from this unscathed. So AK, I love the man. He's a very funny dude. We actually did a show for the MIT Alumni Association where he reminded the folks there that the comedian who has started probably the most open mics in Atlanta that put the restaurant and or venue where the open mic was held out of business was me. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. That's really good. All right, who else am I picking on here? Seven. I was on the debate team. That was not my experience. We were not the cool kids. We did not smoke weed. I think the whole experience would have been better had we done that. So I do appreciate that. And then Dan, is Dan still here? No. Okay. Well, Dan, you know his followers, they're all over the place. So I understand why Dan's not here. And I was not thinking third Union soldier from the left. I was thinking more anorexic Burl Ives. That's really what I was looking for. Dan did not always look like that. He was actually a pretty good-looking dude, and we used to do an open mic at a strip mall where the let's see, Amy was talking about this. The ladies from book club would show up, drink a lot of boxed wine, and undress Dan with their eyes. But Dan, always a very brilliant young man. He talks about himself not being very technical, but me, the guy who developed Georgia Tech's biomaterial course, got schooled in biology by Dan. We were sitting, probably had way too much to drink at a bar at a comedy club one night, and Dan explained to me what a taint is. And that was a big revelation for me because, I know a lot of biological shit, but I did not know what a taint was because in my day, you folks remember, I'm sure you do, we called it the perineum, right? And the reason you were interested in the perineum is that when you have a child, this is good for those of you that are thinking about having children someday. The perineum is the thing that tears when babies are born. And back in the old days, they used to do a little surgical procedure called an episiotomy, where they took a scalpel and cut it. Now they believe that you should let it tear naturally. Those are two words that should never go together. Tear naturally, right? Because it heals better, right? So as a parent, we all worry about venereal diseases. We worry about unwanted pregnancies. And they still show the film, girls, don't let this happen to you. I think they should rename it to something like Natural Tearing and You. That's going to eliminate all possible pregnancies down the line. But yeah, so I have moved to the University of Alabama, which is kind of frightening. And you may have seen the recent law we passed. We've gotten rid of any state funding of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I teach entrepreneurship, so diversity of your entrepreneurship team, kind of important. Had that on a sign, was protesting, was told that if I do that again, I'm going to get fired. I shit you not. This is how bad it is. One of my students in my entrepreneurship classes, she's a very bright young lady. She is the incoming president of the National Society of Black Engineers, which is a very important national organization. She's very troubled. She's trying to find a new advisor, and she asked me, an old, white, bald guy. That's the state of things in Alabama. So it's a little frightening now. They actually won't let us do comedy where we use swear words. They told my improv troupe that they could not rent the student theater if they had, and I quote, salty language. So it's kind of a messed up thing. And in case I horrified you because I imparted no useful knowledge to you whatsoever, despite the fact that I have taught chemical engineering at Georgia Tech for 30 years, please remember that if a guy with a PhD says it, it's not a dirty joke, it's educational. And that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Last comic standing. Last comic standing will be our next performer. And this guy is actually a really funny guy. I think you're going to enjoy him. I'm really happy to have him in this last headlining spot. He's actually a founder of an improv group called Laugh First, which does improv professional development and comedy workshops. If you're working for a company and you want to have them come in and do improv, look for Laugh First. He's a dungeon master, so this is his crowd. In fact, he does Dungeons and Dragons professional development for companies too. So if you guys ever want to play D&D at work, this is your man because it's got the veneer of looking like professional development. It actually is. He's got a really cool thing. He's also a professional in cybersecurity. So I would now tell you to put away your cell phones, but it's too late. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the one and only Will Davis!
Oh my goodness. I'm a walker. But first off, I want to say thank all of y'all for coming. And man, y'all stay here. It's crazy. So thank y'all for coming. And I hope y'all con has been great. I also want to say that y'all have been an awesome audience because people have come on this stage, told their sets, opened up and shared personal stories. So I just want to also applaud everybody that came before me and set the stage and did some fun for y'all tonight. That said, I am so happy to be here again at Dragon Con because actually it's my first time. My only times coming to Dragon Con was as a performer, and man, I just gotta say that my biggest joy is walking around and seeing everybody because geeks rule the world now, right? Right? We rule the world now. People didn't want shit to do with us a couple of years ago, but now everybody is on us. Everybody's on our ass. They need us because now we run the world. They was on me about, Will, you're playing too much time with video games. You're not going outside. What's your screen time looking like, huh? 13 hours on Instagram this week alone? I don't think that's too good. But, another thing I'm very thankful of is that this is the only place in the world where I can say I'm a dungeon master and people don't think it's like some BDSM shit. Okay? But if you do think it is, just see me after the show. We can work something up. So I just like that it doesn't matter that geeks are currently on the top right now. We're living it up right now, so enjoy it because I'm a little jaded. Okay, I work in cybersecurity. I would say y'all saw the CrowdStrike shit that happened. I hope y'all weren't traveling during that time. You see the constant scam likely calls you're getting. So when I go to work, it's like that scene from Saving Private Ryan when all the people are on Normandy and it's like, hey, Will, we got to put out 90,000 fires today. That's the job in cybersecurity. But it's okay. I'm content because AI is going to take over everything. AI is going to rule us now because geeks were bullied. So now we are on top, but AI is going to be on top because we bully AI. Well, I'll speak for myself. I bully AI. I'm an asshole. I talk to AI like I'm Gordon Ramsay. This fucking code is raw. Give me some better shit. But it's all right because you gotta be dominant so that when the apocalypse comes, they fear you. They're gonna put me in the house. I'm gonna be like one of the house slaves. I'm gonna be good up in there. But AI is coming. We can't stop it, no matter how you feel about it. But it's one of the first things we did when we got AI? We created AI girlfriends for lonely dudes that couldn't get women. All right. So the weirdest part, that's not even the weirdest part. The weirdest part is that the dude started verbally abusing the AI, okay? And the AI learned and started abusing the dudes back a lot more effectively, okay? It is true no matter how you slice it. If it's a woman, if it's flesh and blood or a robot, women are just better at insults, okay? So we get this shiny new toy, and the first thing we do as men is create virtual domestic violence. Day one. Like, we just had to add them to the Me Too roster. We couldn't wait for AI to develop. It is what it is. And we're geeks here, so we can, it's a little sensitive. We can share. Anybody else have an experience with bullying? I know I have. You know, see, look, I had it tough because I'm a geek and then I'm black. I'm a black geek. So it's like, oh, you don't fit in with the white people and you're not cool enough to be a black guy. So it's weird. But I had that phase where I had that black geek bro, like the kid who plays Smash Bros a little too much. Looks like he plays a little too much video games. And I kind of grew out of that. I had to glow up. I started getting a girlfriend, and she's improved my life drastically. But the thing that blows my mind is that like there's these like subsets of like geeks that are like, I will never date a black woman again because she called me ugly when I was a nerd. I'm never gonna do it. And I just think that's crazy because I was always trying to figure out how to get into some pussy. Like I was never trying to argue myself out of any pussy. Like that is crazy. I was a little bit dusty, but it doesn't matter because to me, your race doesn't matter. Because I would be happy to get anything. Getting pussies like magnets though. It's no one really knows how the fuck they work. They're like miracles. But but one thing I do know, I know one thing. Geeks know how to fuck. Okay? I know some of y'all probably either coming from or going to one of these Dragon Con orgies. I know y'all some freaks out here. So don't even act. But I learned another thing at these cons. You don't know how to turn up until you start hanging out with the furries. They know how to fucking throw a party. And I don't like how they got this whole stereotype associated with them, okay? Everybody thinks that they're sexual deviants and shit. And I think that's fucked up. Just because they account for only 15% of the con population, but make up for 50% of all con orgies, that doesn't mean they're sexual deviants. It means they're black. And I just want to say this, any furries in here, this is probably the first time it's ever happened to y'all, but y'all my niggas, okay? And like another weird thing, I ever go down a rabbit hole? Like I'm talking about like on Wikipedia, not no sexual shit, okay? And like AK was talking about time travel and stuff like that. And I just, get on Wikipedia after watching the best anime known to man, Steins Gate, and I start going through these like time travel theories. And I thought it was crazy because AK talking about this stuff, and I'm like, man, because I love time travel. But as a black man, we can't go back too far. shit just started getting good. We can't go back. But one thing I always think is funny is that like when you start adding black people to stuff like in movies and things, changes drastically. Imagine Back to the Future, but Marty McFly, Marcus McFly. That movie's over when he goes back instantly. It's over with. He ain't coming back. But it's also a cool thing because I want to see this version of movies. Like imagine Night at the Museum, but a black cast. Now that's a horror movie when he goes to the Civil War exhibit. But that's my time. My name's Will. You can follow me on Instagram, Will2Lab, and call your mom today.
Keep it going. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going for Will Davis. And give yourselves a hand because you sat there for over 90 minutes at the Skeptics track, which is one of the best ways to spend a good chunk of time at Dragon Con. So how about a hand for the Skeptics track and Calico Cove and Skeptically.com. Yes. And one final round of applause I can squeeze out of this tired but still focused audience for every single comic you heard tonight. So keep it going for Allie Louie, Leanne Lord, A.K. Bjorn. Yes, we heard from Vandy Beth Glenn. Yes, Ian Harris, Amy Sharma, Sev and Amina, Dan Weeks, Crystal Pierce, Pete Ludovis, Will Davis. My name's Lou Lefton. Thank you for closing out the 2024 Geekapalooza.